Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we brought back a couple of our Kerbals. However, we made some changes to our Moon Rescuer and it should now work far, far better. So let's hop into the VAB. We have 2 more Kerbals to rescue. Let's go ahead and get that done. So we'll open up our Moon Rescue machine. We have cut the costs on it a little bit as well, although this is the autosave variant. Hang on. We want this one, which is slightly cost cut of like 80 money. I'm not sure what the unit of currency is here. It's very slightly cost cut. Hang on. Did I not save it? Apparently I didn't save it. That's interesting. Well, give me a moment. I'll recreate it. Okay, I am back here, and I believe that I've gotten it back to approximately where it was. It may not be, I remember it being not particularly pretty as it was. It may not be all that pretty, but it should get the job done. So this should be completely fine. We've got power generation, we've got RCS on here. We don't really have any improved reaction wheels. We could think about maybe upgrading to a regular-sized reaction wheel. Now that I think about it, we ditch our small reaction wheel, put the parachute right there, and then put our advanced inline stabilizer right there. So that would be a small upgrade in terms of how easily we are able to turn this. Actually, more than a small one. That would be a pretty large upgrade. Overall, I think that that's good. So we're going to save this. We need to make sure that our crew is the way we want it to be. So we want to bring Valentina, and I believe we wanted to bring Lunar will be fine. Okay, I think we are ready to launch this. I really don't like the offset on the windows on the crew cabin. They make everything always look so awkward and wonky. Just because of the way it's divided into like thirds, but there's only 2 of them. So you've got like 1/3 here, 1/3 here, and then an empty third back here. It just makes things look awkward and you can't fit radially attached things correctly. I don't love it, but unfortunately we don't have other options at this moment. So this will do fine for right now. Let's go ahead and save this for once, and let's launch it. So we're going to be going and rescuing... I'm just thinking here how we want to do this. We definitely want to rescue the wonky inclination Kerbal first. Yeah. And they're a long ways out there. So they are going east-west equatorial. We'll just have to change our inclination. That's not the biggest of deals. Alternatively, we may be able to set up an intersection at the ascending or descending node. Possibly. We'll see. For the time being, I'm going to go ahead and launch this. We're not going to try to time it at all. So let's go ahead and lift off. Valentina, anytime you're ready. Anytime you're ready, Valentina. I'm letting this bit go on for too long. Let's go. Fantastic. So off we go. And we are going to start heading on over fairly soon. So we're at about 80 meters per second, and let's start heading over this way. Cool. Heading over to about here or so. Just getting some horizontal speed. This thing is really wanting to wiggle up here. So I think that that is meaning that this reaction wheel is a little strong. We should have a strut coming up here and here. For the time being, we're just going to lock to prograde, and we'll call it good. It's not the biggest of deals. How long until our side tanks run out of fuel? Here in about 35 seconds. Cool. And I don't care too much about this inclination. I'm not sure which way we end up needing to go, but we do have to have an inclination change no matter what. So it'll be fine. Cool. There's definitely some wobble going on up here. Now that I think about it, are these struts? They might be disconnected struts. They are, in fact, disconnected struts. So that's something that we should probably think about in the future, connecting those. But it's fine. We'll go ahead and separate. Clean separation. And how are we looking for our apoapsis? Our apoapsis is already well beyond the boundaries of space, so we're just going to go ahead and burn at the horizon here. We have more than enough vertical speed. Yeah, this definitely wants to wiggle up here, rather than turning smoothly. Noted. So time to apoapsis is currently holding at 2 minutes, 18 seconds. Okay, now it's pushing up. And we'll just take this up to around 200 kilometers. We're going to have to raise our orbit quite a lot anyway, and that'll give us some time to work with for inclination changes and such. So that'll be fine. Cool. Getting a lot of horizontal speed here. 130. 135. 145. Cool. Once again, we're just targeting 200. 185 and 200. Cool. So at this point, we will extend our solar panels. That would help. We'll just get these all extended. We could set them up with an action group, but I never do that. I just always forget about it. Okay, so we're going to hop into here and circularize at this apoapsis. So that'll be a decent amount of circularization, but not too much. Yeah, about 340 meters per second. Not too bad. I like it. So now we don't have to worry about our electric charge. As long as we're not in the shadow of Kerbal, we will be fine. And we're just going to rotate on over. You'll note that I'm not using RCS right now. That is by design. We can definitely rotate a lot faster with this bigger reaction wheel, which was fully expected, but this is a very noticeable difference. Cool. And let's warp. So we're going to warp ahead about another 2 minutes in total. But we'll just reposition slightly here. And there we go. We'll start our burn in about 40 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Cool. And this is just going to be a pure prograde burn. This is fine. And we just want to circularize-ish. It doesn't have to be perfect. Good enough. Okay, so of course, this is going to be our target out here. Lenbert's Derelict. So, we're currently here, and we're heading towards the periapsis. So the descending node is where we're going to need to be. And let's think about how much that's going to cost to match inclination here. I mean, we're going to have to do it no matter what. So that's 0.4... 0.3, 0.2. We'll have to change the timing. Yeah, that awkward timing is awkward. Let me try that again. We're going to try to get that timing close to perfect. One thing we could do is push out our apoapsis and periapsis more. Look for an encounter at the node here. That might be cheaper, actually. So hypothetically, if we were to do something like this, we'd have to change when we did this burn. How close would that end up getting? I want to have this information open. There we go. So 229.4 kilometers. Can we get that closer? Yes. Yes, we can. That's about 4 kilometers. Should be good enough. With a relative speed of 400 meters per second, I think this is the far better way to do this. Okay. We'll align for the burn, and we're going to have to warp for 3 days here. That's okay. That's not too bad. 3 days is not the end of the world. We could definitely attempt to dial this in a little bit closer with some radial. 1.1. 0.7. But honestly, this is close enough. 0.5 kilometers. I mean, yeah, that'll do the trick. So let's just go ahead and head on over towards the maneuver node. And this is definitely the way to do this. Definitely. So this is going to end up costing us not too much. I like it. Definitely cheaper than adjusting the inclination and then intercepting. So, oh my, that's very speedy. I'm going to zoom out a bit so that's jumping around less. There we go. And we're now about 1 minute away from this burn. So we want to nail this burn pretty close to exactly. But it doesn't have to be perfect. Just good enough. Okay. So we'll start our burn in 3, 2, 1, mark. And we're actually not going to be out of fuel in our first stage yet. So this is really, really good. We'll not quite be out of fuel, I should say. It'll be very close. Okay, just adjusting the heading a little bit here. Okay. And let's slow that on down. 0.2 meters per second off. We'll just slowly rotate our way up here. And we barely got any burn left in this stage, but we do have a little bit. And we will be using it. Okay, that's 0.0. So that's a separation of 34.3 kilometers. It is technically close enough. But I'd like to burn a little bit towards target here. So let's go ahead and come on down here. We're going to burn very gently. Okay. Arresting our momentum there and holding at target. Nope. Anti-target is what we need. Okay. We'll flip it on around. This intersect isn't for another 4 hours, so we've got lots of time to dial this in. And, ooh, that's exciting. Really bouncy there. Not necessarily ideal. Okay. So we'll hold here for the moment. And we are just going to burn this in very gently. In fact, I'm going to cut the throttle on this, the thrust limiter, down to 0.5%. Okay. And now we're going to throttle this up and dial this in. Cool. It's a very, very gentle burn. Extraordinarily gentle. I'm trying to head back over this way. We don't have a lot of attitude control right now. We could use RCS for that, but I don't want to use RCS at this juncture. Okay, that was about the best we're going to get. So we want to switch into target mode. I'm going to warp around to, let's see here. We're going this direction, correct? Correct. I'm going to warp to about here. That's still a couple of hours before our intersection. And we'll evaluate and see what things are looking like. Okay, we're not far off of retrograde. And retrograde is almost exactly on anti-target, which is good. So let's just head on up over to here. And then we're going to warp in to about here. Cool. Now, are we close enough to see it? Probably not. Not at this point. This is going to be 24 kilometers apart, right? So that's the thing. We're just positioning on retrograde, and then we're going to warp in a little bit closer. Our intersection is actually here at this point. So I'm going to add a maneuver here, and this is going to be minus 400 meters per second, but we're not going to pay attention to this. This is just for a timer. So we will go ahead and warp to that maneuver. We're in target retrograde mode. We don't care about the actual maneuver position. We just need to get into basically the same orbit, and then we can work on doing a get closer burn. I'm not actually necessarily going to kill all of the relative velocity. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Okay. We are pretty far apart still. So I think this and then a get closer burn will be the way to go. Oh, we should have started our burn already, but I think that's because this is thrust limited. Yes, that is accurate. Cool. Okay. So we'll warp ahead a little bit more. And we'll start our burn about, well, in 5 seconds here. So we now can see that it's about 20 kilometers out. I'm going to start the burn now. Cool. So we are basically fresh on this tank getting here. I like it. We can see we're getting further away from the derelict, so we were definitely a little late on that burn. That's not super shocking. But let's just bring this relative speed down virtually to 0. 100 meters per second to go. 60. 40. Okay. We're starting to see some pretty big oscillations here. We're not going to be too concerned about bringing this all the way to 0. So at this point, we're just going to start burning towards the target. And we're going to head in at somewhere around, I don't know, maybe like 20 meters per second or so. But we're going to need to do a corrective burn here and bring this over this direction. We're heading towards the target right now, but I want to correct our trajectory a little bit, bringing that over. Overshot it slightly there. That's fine. I don't mind picking up additional speed towards the target right now. We are going to have a pretty good amount of drift. Okay. So, what is our current intersection going to be? 1.6 kilometers, apparently. Can we bring that in any closer? I'm going to pull us up this direction slightly, correcting our burn a little bit. 1.2 kilometers. 1.1. I don't care about the relative speed right now, for the record. Okay. This should be close enough. I'm just going to take our relative speed up to 20 meters per second. Just so we have some slush to work with braking. Okay, that'll do. So 20.4, we're going to swap around. And from here, we can do corrective burns while slowing down. This is close enough for the moment, so we're going to warp and let this drift. It will drift off the marker somewhat. Let's head on in. It's not drifting very much just yet. Okay, it has definitely drifted now. So I'm going to make a small correction. And we're just going to burn down this way, pushing the node up to be about here. There we go. 0.0 kilometers. Well, that should do the trick. Did I nail it that well? We'll see. It's probably not quite accurate. But let's see what we've got. Okay, we can now see we're about 700 meters out and closing on in. 600. 500. Let's continue to warp here a little bit. And yeah, we can see we're drifting off a little bit on the node. That's fine. Let's start braking down to like 5 meters per second. Actually, we can probably brake a little bit more thoroughly. Yeah, this is looking good. We can push the node something like this. There we go. And we can see us drifting off, but that's fine. No problem whatsoever there. We're moving at 1.7 meters per second. Let's just bring this gently on in. We're now at 0.5 meter per second. Warping in a little closer. Beautiful. Single digits in terms of distance separating us. I like it. So I'm going to rotate here so that the crew hatch is facing up. There we go. And we'll switch on over and we'll have Lambert EVA. Can let go. And we're just going to fly on over. Cool. Okay, Lambert is at this point going to get shifted. So we'll transfer Lambert into this module. There we go. And now we need to head for the moon. So we set the moon as our target. We're going to have to change our inclination quite a bit, but I'd like to do that, I think, over the moon if we can. What kind of timing would burning prograde at the ascending node actually look to give us? Wait, that just works? We just get an encounter, just like that. I mean, it's awful, but sure. Absolutely. Where did it go? I was trying to tweak it a bit, but it looks like it's a very momentary encounter. Okay, let's bring this back and see if I can find that again. I did see it there very briefly. Okay. There it is. Okay. We'll, I don't love this periapsis. I really want to tweak it. Can we radial burn to tweak it? The answer is no. Absolutely not. Okay. Noted. So we're pretty much just going to have to accept what we get here. There are multiple encounters here, actually. Hang on. Where is it? It's flashing in and out here. This. This is more like what I'm looking for. We'll be there in 14 days. I love it. This is not bad at all. This is really, really good. This is a great encounter. I mean, as great as we're going to get. It'll do. It'll do. So, we will position for this burn, and let's begin that warp. Excellent. So we're going to do this burn in 57 seconds. This is 46.3 meters per second for a moon transfer orbit. That's insane. Absolutely nuts. Let's go. So we're going to burn this in about 25 seconds. About 5 seconds. And burn. Okay, we have to hit this quite precisely. How's that looking? That's not giving us the encounter. Okay, I'm going to thrust limit us down to 0.5%. And let's see. Okay, that's barely there. We've got some floating point errors here, I think. I'm looking for one that's a little more solid. Okay. I'm not immediately seeing it. I'm not sure if this encounter is real, per se. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I guess we can see if we can get it to actually... Ooh, man, that's so sensitive. If we can get it to actually dial in here. Is this an actual encounter? I'm not convinced it is. Indeed. Well, I can try to dial this in a little bit off camera and see if I can get it. It is about time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to flip back around to prograde. And we'll see if we can dial something in here. Ideally, it will work. You know what? I'm going to try actually burning anti-target here. And seeing what that ends up doing. Does that get us a more solid encounter? I don't like the fact that it is fluctuating at all. So we're just checking in here. Man, that's so fast. So tenuous. Okay. Well, let's just look at a maneuver, actually. So, if, hypothetically, we were to burn somewhat radially, could we get a more solid encounter? I feel like the fact that this is flickering like this makes me think maybe this isn't a real encounter at all. But I'm going to experiment with that off camera. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I'll see if I can find a real, actual encounter here at some point in the future. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Casserole, ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisol, Kadra, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.